Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Conversations in Pop Culture. I have with me Labinnak, and yes, that is cannibal spelled with a K backwards. So, how are you? And she's a cosplayer, so how are you? Because it's been a while. It's been about a year since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, it has been about a year. It's been a long time. I've been doing pretty good. Hanging in there, making some cosplays, playing some Doom, some Animal Crossing, like usual things.
Yeah, and I
Being a
think
derp.
we, I think everybody should figure out, and if you don't know and you've been living under a rock, unfortunately, a lot of stuff's going on with this coronavirus. I'm in DC, she's in the DMV area, and we actually just found out today that that's been extended to June 9th, June 10th in that area. I think Maryland's very similar, Virginia is similar, DC is similar. And so a lot of stuff's going on, and the con world is being affected, the wrestling world's being affected. So I am curious, before we dive into some of your cosplays, how are you being affected in particular by this virus?
Well, for one, like it's changing. Well, it has changed my entire schedule. Like I had a lot of things planned for the summer and for the spring. Like I was supposed to travel to go guest at different conventions, and that didn't happen because, of course, a lot of conventions rightly postponed or canceled. Oh, it hasn't really changed how I work since I work from home. The only like really big thing is I can't go out and buy anything, so I have to go through websites and wait for things to come in. So it's kind of like slowing down my process for like everything. So it's really weird,
So I
but
want to
the
talk about
positive
that.
side. But
I want to
oh,
talk
what's that?
about that because
Yeah.
the con world is bizarre. And in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, and this is what I think, is that even if we beat this thing back in June, I don't have a very big vote of confidence of going. I don't feel comfortable, and I'm a panelist, and I don't feel comfortable even sitting in a Starbucks as of right now, and I might not feel comfortable for the next few months. And so I know Otakon, which is taking place in DC, hasn't canceled yet, and I'm saying to myself, that's crazy. And so I don't know how you feel, especially in places like Seattle was a hot spot. New York is a disaster. Jersey is a disaster. Michigan's a disaster. I don't know how Florida's looking, but obviously with a lot of older people down there. So, what is your entire take on what are cons going to do? Are more cons going to be canceled if they already haven't? Or where do you think we end up with this? Because you're guesting at these cons now, and you see it from the cosplay and more of the guest side, while I see it more from the panel side.
Well, I think that cons are going to continue canceling up into the fall because this thing is showing no signs of stopping for what I'm seeing. And if we just go like, oh, well, our cons in July, like, let's just do it. Like, that'd be a very terrible, like, decision to make when we're doing all this work. Well, like, we're trying so hard to not spread the virus by staying home. So it would be pointless to have a con in July when we're doing like the stay home thing. I think post virus, I think it's really going to change the cosplay and convention scene. Like beforehand, when you'd go to a con, like there's a lot of hugging, there's a lot of like high fiving and like sharing drinks and like sharing things. I think when we go back, a lot more people will be conscious about like physical things. Like maybe we'll have a different thing besides a hug, so we can like do like a something that's not so physical to like be like sup. Like just like a wave, we could just wave at each other, maybe. um, Hopefully like more people practice more like better like hand washing, since I like from what I've heard, like some people like don't wash their hands, which I was absolutely
There's a
surprised about
crazy
like when I found
thing
out.
at cons. There's a crazy thing at cons where, and
Uh-huh.
I've never gotten it, and I don't know if you heard about this,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else told me about it, Michael Zekas, who was on this and was
Uh-huh.
live a few days ago, and he said there's this
Yeah.
thing where if somebody is super infectious and has like a weird bug, everybody at the con gets that bug. And that's never happened
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
Concrete.
Con crud,
You're
yeah.
so lucky then.
I've
many
never
people
heard of
get con
this.
crud.
I never heard of this.
Really?
So
Oh,
this
you're
would
lucky.
be it happening, and that's what I'm concerned about. Because let's be realistic, I want to take pictures with celebrities. I like to get comic books
Hmm.
signed, and so from that perspective, I think that's going to change. And
Hmm.
I don't want to dive too deep into the economics, but cons can be very lucrative in that way,
Hmm.
and so that's something that's a big concern for I think a lot of people. Not to mention that cons are huge and people are touching, people are buying
Oh
things.
yeah.
And so I don't know what the answer is with this. And so I'm curious, and
Hmm.
nobody's holding a gun to your head or anything like that, and nobody's going to hold your feet to the fire. But I don't know where we go in this sector that has been more touchy. And obviously, I don't want to dive into cosplay means consent because that's not what we mean by this. But I don't know where we go with this. And so that's where I'm
Hmm.
curious on how this is all going to play out.
Yeah, yeah. Like it'll definitely be really interesting to see what happens. Hopefully, like it doesn't get any worse than it is, or will eventually be. But yeah, I definitely see it changing the convention scene. Like realistically everything.
And so to further
It'd
talk,
be odd because I'm such a huggy person, so it's just it'd be like going to the con and be like, I can't hug you, I'm sorry.
and to further
But
talk about that, and what I'm interested in is where were you supposed to travel to, and where were you supposed to guest, if you can say it, because now that it's been
oh,
canceled.
I actually had two guesting positions in March. One of which was up north in Rochester, called Toricon. That one got canceled. And the second one was Matacon, which is in Harrisonburg, Virginia, which also rightfully got canceled because of the virus. And this was at the very beginning of when things were like locking down or about to be locked down. So it, it was an interesting beginning to the spring convention season, nonetheless.
And so those were canceled right out. They weren't
Oh, yeah.
rescheduled or anything like
No,
that.
no. Well, like they were student run. Like these were both conventions run by so clubs and like schools. So generally, like with those schools, they put together a convention that's like their once a year thing. I didn't expect them to reschedule it because obviously it is such a big thing that they do. Like Matacon is actually um, my home school's convention. That's like where I went to school down there at James Madison. And so I was like, so I've seen it all firsthand. So like they put a lot of work to set up these conventions, and I totally like I don't blame them for canceling it. Like I think they did it, but I think they made like a really good call because like seeing how scary this virus is and how fast it's spreading, I think it's very important that they put their con attendees' health first. So I'm like a pretty proud that they made such a good call so soon too.
And
Was
so
a very good.
now you mentioned something else in this
Mm-hmm.
entire discussion is you can't go to the store and buy materials for cosplay
Yeah.
and
No. No.
creation.
No. No.
And cosplay creation is a whole beast. And we had a discussion about that on the podcast about a year ago, as I mentioned that the last time we spoke was a year ago. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
curious, what is that entire process like in finding materials and really dealing with the challenge of buying something from the internet? Because everybody has the experience of buying something from the internet they don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but with cosplay and finding the right material and also the fact that it's slowing down the creation process, what is that
Mm-hmm.
like? And how is that affecting your creativity in that sense as well?
Well, for one, I have to take into account, I have to wait for things to come in. Like, I can't just go out and be like, oh, yeah, I need shoe glue so I can glue stuff to my shoes. I have to go online and see if I can find something that can ship relatively quickly. And with the virus thing that's going on, like it has definitely slowed down shipping time. So, for instance, um, something that's not completely cosplay us related, but kind of cosplay like us related because I do use it for cosplay. I broke my phone screen case like 2 days ago, and I thought I had like one set aside somewhere, but apparently I didn't. So I had to go online to buy one and get it in like as soon as possible because I'm really clumsy with my phone and I drop it all the time. Like it is really bad. So I went online and I looked for like the screen protector thing that I usually use, and apparently the soonest that I could get it in was I think it was like April 20th. Um, and like this was like last week that I was looking for this product. I was like, I can't wait 20 days. I have to like completely change like what I do because like I know that I'm like really clumsy. So I was like, okay, so maybe like I'll just leave my phone on my desk and not touch it for like until my screen cover comes in. Thankfully, like I did find one that came in actually yesterday, which was super super big relief for me because I was just like I didn't want to break it. But yeah, like definitely like when you're buying stuff like through the websites and stuff, like you do have to take into account like, oh, when is it going to get there? And like while you're buying things, like you want to make sure you buy everything that you need, because then you're just doing this long wait game of like, oh, when is my stuff going to like ask to get here so I can start it? So yeah, like it's kind of a struggle there.
And even getting deeper and deeper into it, how do you feel that prices have been affected? Because basic economics is that when
Mm-hmm.
there is supply or disruption or issues with
Mm-hmm.
delivery, because
Mm-hmm.
this is a problem and we have a lot of people ordering things. Do you feel that even materials are just going quicker and moving quicker through because everybody's home, or 100
Mm-hmm.
million Americans who are working is pretty much going to be home? And
Mm-hmm.
out of the cosplay community, I mean, this is kind of the time to build a cosplay to some degree. So, how do you
Mm-hmm.
feel that even just getting materials, and I think we dealt with the speed, but the availability and the prices are all being affected by this? Because obviously, cosplay can be very expensive. It doesn't
Oh
have
yeah.
to be,
Oh
but it can be.
yeah. Well, thankfully, I haven't really seen a big change in prices. I have seen like a few like online sales, like like doing like a clearance sale on like foam scales, which I totally bought a bunch of foam scales yesterday for a meme costume. But I haven't really seen people like jack up the prices a lot, which is a relief, especially since I'm doing a lot of purchasing online. So that's good. But the sales are nice. Like I think it's really nice that like companies are encouraging people go online to buy things and not come to their store.
Well, I have a theory.
So
I have a
please
theory on the sales.
close your store.
I mean, I have a theory on the sales. This is my theory: is that a lot of businesses are hurting right now. You
Oh
know,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
I speak to
And
a
it
bunch of
really sucks to see.
I speak to a bunch of wrestlers, and I think we're learning in America that a lot of companies do not have good balance sheets. They have significant problems. A lot of people have significant problems with money in this country. Apparently, we're learning. And so I think a lot of companies in the cosplay world, and I'm not as familiar with them as you are, but what is that like even for you to support a company online? Because they probably need that money. And your local store probably needs that money too, wherever you pick it up, like a Joanne Fabrics or a Michaels even probably needs that money. But obviously, it
Hmm.
can't go pick something up locally because we're all
Yeah,
stuck
yeah.
inside thanks to the Virginia governor and the mayor of D.C. and Larry Hogan, who's the governor of Maryland, basically kept everybody in the
Hmm.
DMV area homebound.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think it's really important to recognize that there's a community that's around you, and to support your small like creators and small like businesses as like much as you can, especially right now because a lot of people are hurting, especially like the smaller people. So if you can support somebody who's smaller or like a small business, I'd like do it. Like buy stuff from them. Like if like you need like someone to print stickers for you, like definitely go to them and be like, oh yeah, here's my sticker that I want printed. Like I think right now, like the community just has to be like, just like stick together and just like be strong because we can get through this. Like it's gonna be hard like the next few months, but like we can do it.
And I want to table the cosplay community and get back to that in a few minutes because there is something to talk about with that, and I've seen multiple things online about that. But I do want to talk about something a little bit more cheerful and a little bit more fun, and that's some of your cosplays and the ones we didn't really get to talk about the last time. But we're going to talk about one that we did get to that you're known for, and that's your Ruby cosplay.
Oh, that one. Yes.
And it's got a few versions. There's a swimsuit version, right? If I remember correctly. There's the Christmas version.
There's a swimsuit version.
and then there's the regular version, and then there's the new regular version as well, from my understanding. So let's talk about that because that's kind of what you're known for, and I think you got a lot of attention for that one over the others. Not to say I don't like the other ones,
the 20 some of them that I've done over the years, because I have no chill. Yeah, I like Ruby a lot. So 20 some versions later, I think my most recent one is the Volume 7 Ruby, which I've made like 2 months ago.
So let's talk about that because Ruby is an interesting character in her own right. Fascinating, starts out somewhat childish, and clearly I don't think she's aged in the sense of going from like 12 to 60, but immaturity and experiencing hardship and experiencing and witnessing how things actually work in the real world. And her costume and what she wears has changed, and even her tactics have changed, and her stance has changed. So how does that influence you in when you are constantly adding and rebuilding to an already existing cosplay that you have done? And how do you go about modifying it to really capture that, especially if you do want to do that Volume 7 over the Volume 3 version of her?
Well, like making my Volume 7 Ruby costume was a really like fascinating like experience because it was like it does have a lot of similarities to the Volume 4, like with like the corset and like the cloak and like her belt and whatnot. But like I think it was like 4 years ago that I started to make that costume. I've grown so much like within that time frame that I picked up so many new skills that like when I went back to like, oh okay, so I'm gonna make the new Volume 7 corset. I built it like much better, like how I've done like 4 or 5 years ago, like when I first started it, because I've like learned so much from the community and through tutorials and through practice, because I've been like making costumes essentially for like 7 years now, so a long time. So like it's really been like a really like interesting journey, and like it like really helped me discover that I've been improving, and it's just like wow, it's really cool to look back on something and be like, oh, okay, so that's where I was, and then look at what you did today. It's like, oh wow, okay, wow, I improved. So that was actually like really nice, and like it's like probably a big reason why like I love my Ruby costume so much, because you do see a lot of my improvement, because her like what she wears is like very similar. Like they have like kind of little similarities like here and there, like the capes and everything. So it's a journey. Cosplay's a journey. It's like there's no spot where you could say, oh yeah, I'm like I was like, I can't improve. Like, this is the best I could do. Like, I've peaked. Like, I remember, like, when I first started, I thought that I peaked at, like, my Tiny Tina build, which is from Borderlands. And then I picked up, like, new skills. And I made, like, Godzilla and my Xenomorph Queen and, like, Ruby and, like, everything. I was just like, whoa, okay, I guess I didn't peak. So I think that's, like, really cool about cosplay is, well, not just cosplay, but with, like, creativity in general. Like, that, like, there is no stopping point. Like, you can keep building on and keep getting better skills and making bigger, better things. So
Well,
I think
I don't
that's
know
my favorite
about
thing about
you.
cosplay, honestly.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've de-improved, if that's even possible. I've
Is he
de-evolved over the
improved?
years. No, I'm just. It's gotten worse. It's terrible. That's why we're on this platform now. No. It's all good. But anyhow,
You can only get better, fam. You can only get better.
that's how I felt about Volume 7 over Volume 5. I thought
Mm-hmm.
Volume 7 of Ruby was a rough outing. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was poorly written, and I thought the animation was decent, but I
Mm-hmm.
was not a fan of Volume 7. Volume 7 was a hard watch for me. I thought the entire plot was absolutely ridiculous, and not in ridiculous in a good way. And so I am not a fan of Volume 7. I understand why they did it. I get it. But
Mm-hmm.
Volume 6 was way better. But anyhow.
Oh, Volume 6 was really good. I feel like Volume 7, it, like it just like really feels that way because it's not really done. Because of the way that they stopped stops that volume. Like there's clearly more that comes after, and I think that Volume 8 like probably should be better. Like especially like what you view Volume 7 and Volume 8 together. Hopefully,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't feel finished to me. Like it feels like it's getting
This
there. Like we're
is.
getting to like the really juicy part, and I like really want that juicy part, which we're probably gonna get in Volume 8. Like come on, like bring on that juicy part. I want to see more Salem and like everything. Give me some Summer Rose.
So, the way I describe Ruby Volume 7 is like Yu Gi Oh!
Mm-hmm.
GX Volume. Season 3. Not Volume 3, Season
Uh huh.
3. Because
Yeah.
Season 3 of Yu Gi Oh! GX was
Mm-hmm.
horrific. It was horrific.
Uh
And
huh.
and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the second season of that show is one of the most amazing anime shows ever done in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Saga.
I
So
wonder if that's what I watched because I watched something from Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't remember which season it was because I was like really young.
the point is that I thought that 7 was rough, and so I'm curious how that cosplay is going to be received because people love Ruby, people love the progression of Ruby,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but it's
Well,
definitely got a negative connotation to it because I think you sort of said it, and I think I have. I also just said it to some degree. Is that it's not finished and it's a rough one to watch.
hmm well, well, like in terms of cosplay, and how people like react to it. Like I remember when they first released the designs for the new outfits and characters and hairstyles, and I remember how negatively people reacted to Ruby's, which was like she like went Super Saiyan or something, which actually wasn't really necessarily the case because it was just like the artwork, the promo art. But still like very different. And I still see sometimes like whenever I post my Ruby photos of like the new wig, and some people being like, "Oh, I like your Volume 4 one better because the wig's nicer," or or they're like, "Wow, like actually that looks really good," and they've grown to actually like the new look. Like I know like it's like weird to like see like your favorite character drawn differently or in a new style. So I think it's really gonna take just some time for people to get used to. It took me some time to get used to. Like I didn't think that I was gonna like my Volume 7 hair slash outfit as much, but I put so much time and effort into like creating it, and then I put it on, and I was like, wow, like what a journey to get here. Like I actually really like this costume a lot. So yeah, like I think it'll just take a while for people to get used to it and get used to um, the designs and the characters and what's going on in the show and whatnot. But like generally, like volume 7, like you can definitely see like how much the well the people who made the show like have improved, like because if you take like volume 7 and compare it to like volume 4, volume 3, and volume 1, compared to volume 1, it's like, whoa, the animation has changed so dramatically. They have done so much that has like there's so much improvements that have been made. It's like mind blowing. So it's really cool to see it there as well with the improvement thing, and them like getting better, and that gives me more hope for like volume 8, because it's like, ooh, what cool thing are they gonna do in volume 8? Let's see. Apparently they finished writing it from what I've seen on Twitter, so I'm excited.
From my understanding, they actually finished volume 8 and they're working on writing volume 9 at the same time. Because both of them,
Isn't that the last one? I think it's the last one, which kind of scares me because I like Ruby, but I do want it to end at some point.
because both of them are been approved, and that's really cool that Rooster Teeth is taking that leap of faith and jump. And look, we're gonna agree to disagree. I actually love Volume 1. I love Volume 2. I love Volume 3, and I love the animation. I love that style. I actually think that Ruby as a show did better, and it's really a cool and a nice, I guess, breath of fresh air to some degree due to its style and it not being so polished. And that's just my opinion on it, because I think that it was cool what they did and how it wasn't over the top. Like Volume 7 to me was too much. There's something you can go too much on it, but that's just how I feel. And I feel that Volume 7 was like Genlock. I really do. And you play Cammy, and you have Cammy cosplay. And
I love Cammy.
Yeah, Cammy's fun. Cammy is arguably
so cute.
The best character in the entire series of that one.
She's a bunny girl. So cute. I love her. I want more.
What was that like, creating that one? Because that's a little bit interesting, to say the least. I'm trying to be that sensitive as possible.
I'm just so hoping for like a season 2. I'm just like, it's been like a year. It's like, it was so good, and it's like getting to good parts, and it's just like, and like now I'm gonna finally actually cosplay Cammy, because I've done just like a bunny suit version of Cammy. Like I haven't actually done her real outfit, but I found like a suit that's online that I got that I just need to modify, and I actually get to cosplay her. I'm so excited.
So what
Cammy's
is that
best girl.
like?
What's that?
Where do you even go to like find something to modify? Because people want to know that as well. All your trade secrets.
Well, for modifying something, well, when you take on a project, like you want to break it down, like what can you make, what can you buy, what can you modify. In like Cammy's case, I thought that buying the bodysuit would be a good start, because what she wears is like a very skin tight plug suit. So it has to be like very form fitted. So I figured like a sub dye pattern would be perfect. So I went online and got that. She does have some more like raised details. Like for instance, her shoulders are a little bit more raised. She also has like a raised part on her gloves. And then she has like parts on her shoes. So for something like that, I would be like, so I'm going to take this bodysuit and I'm just going to modify it. So with like warblers or foams or whatever, and just like glue and attach things and paint and like make it all color matched and whatever. So it's really just getting a whole bunch of things together and like making changes, whether it be sizing or adding details to really bring a character costume together. So I get to do that pretty soon, because that's pretty much next on my list once I'm done with Doom.
So what is before that one that's coming out?
I'm working on Doom Guy, the Doom Slayer. Actually, here's a piece from it. This is my gauntlet. Whoosh. It's so real. No, it's not real. It's foam. It's actually like really gross on the inside. So right now I am working on a Doom costume, like a femme Doom Slayer. And I am actually hand making everything out of foam, because you can't really buy armor. anywhere unless if you want to just buy like really random pieces and like modify them like to the extreme. But since this is so custom, like I'm doing everything in foam and like really like getting in some details. Like did this last night. This will be the knife at some point. But yeah, doing that first, and then I'll be working on things like Cammy and a big monster build that's coming up amongst a lot of other costumes. Like I think I do like 4 costumes a month, honestly. It's a lot.
And then speaking about other popular things that are going on, you have an Isabelle cosplay from Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is massive. Everybody's playing it. Everybody's home. Everybody's trying to survive on their island, making it happen.
Animal Crossing with I love Animal Crossing so much. Like, for a while, I'd stay up until 5 a.m. so I can get, like, the next day thing, because the next day starts at 5 a.m. So I'm just like, okay, if I stay up a little bit longer, then, like, maybe the museum will be built, and I can actually donate all my fossils and bugs. So I, like, build in front of, like, the museum, because I collect a lot. But, yeah, Animal Crossing has been my current, like, big addiction next to Doom. Like Doom and Animal Crossing, because they both come out the same day. Like and plus they're like they kind of like balance them out, because one of them's like really like hardcore and like gets me like really pumped up to like kill demons, and then there's Animal Crossing where I can just go relax on my island and collect fruit. So yeah, I do have a cosplay for that as well. That I kind of like mixed the 2 costumes because both the games came out the same day. So I did Doom Crossing, is what I call it. Isabelle and Doom Guy. So I had like a little cacodemon thing, and it was like with my net thing. And like sometimes they make like little puns in the game about like the fish and the bugs that you catch. So I was like, haha, you caught a cockademon. Haha, you caught a demon, get it? Caught demon. Well, I was really proud of that pun. I know it was really bad, but it worked so well for the crossover that I just had to do. Like, I really like meme costumes, and that was one of the meme costumes that I did. I do have another meme costume that's coming up, like, super soon that I'm not going to really talk about much, because I kind of want it to be a big surprise, but...
So...
Yeah, hi.
So, when you build a crossover or a mashup, as it's called sometimes, how long do those take you to build? Because you've done those in the past as well.
It depends on the crossover. It depends on how like complex it is. For Doom Crossing, it took a long time because the chest plate that I was building took so long to make. Same thing with like my Ruby Lands cosplay, which is Ruby and Borderlands put together. That took me like months to do because it was a lot of cell shading. Like, it super depends on how complicated the costume is, to be honest, and like what I'm like doing with it, like whether I'm like making everything or if I'm modifying things or buying stuff. So sometimes both.
And how do you feel that these mashups are received, especially this one? Because Animal Crossing is huge, Doom is massive as well, and both those things came out at the exact same time. Did they come out on the same day, or did they come out like a day after each other?
March 20th. They both came out March 20th.
I'm not a video gamer. I'm a very casual gamer, so this is not my area of expertise. So I don't know when either of these games came out.
I'm casual too. Like, I'm playing on easy mode and Doom. Like, I'm really casual. I think that they were very, very, very well so received within the community, especially considering like all the memes that came out from both the games coming out on the same day. Like, you'd see Isabelle with like Doom Guy, and then they're like shooting demons together or something, and it's like I was like living like for those memes. So of course I had to do the cosplay, and like when I did the cosplay, like everyone like really loved it, and they still are like very excited about it. And like with me like working on the Doom part, like getting like a full on Doom cosplay, like they're also like, woo, let's go, but they're also like Isabelle, yeah, Isabelle, more Animal Crossing content. It's like, oh, this is so cool. It's nice. Like, I love how supportive the community is, and like how two completely different things, like something that's like super intense and hardcore, like I'm gonna kill demons and everything, and then you got that like really cutesy game, like community have like come together, and it's like, peace, peace, peace on earth. I don't know. I think it's really cute and like really wholesome of the community. So.
And then we're going to change gears into something that everybody should know, and we're going to talk about Pokemon really quickly.
Pokemon,
and
yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a Pop Funko that's coming out that's a flocked Eevee for WonderCon.
Oh, I think I saw that. Oh, that's so cute. I love Eevee. Eevee's my favorite Pokemon. Oh my gosh. I think they're coming out with the Pichu too, is what I saw. Are they coming out with the Pichu?
Yeah, because just to fill everybody in on the background of this, GameStop came out with a flocked Squirtle and a flocked Pikachu. Amazon had the flocked Bulbasaur. Walmart had the flocked Charmander. And then now they're doing the flocked Eevee. Is at, I want to say, one of them's at FYE, I want to say, and the other's at Hot Topic. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say the Eevee's at FYE. And the Pichu's at Hot Topic. I want to say that unless it's the other way around. But I'm like 80% sure Eevee's at FYE. So, and that's for WonderCon. I think it's WonderCon's first like Pop Funko exclusive. Which is crazy because that's like a virtual con now, which is a whole different discussion in of itself. But what is that like for you? Because you just said Eevee's your favorite Pokemon, and you cosplayed an Eevee. And that was a fun cosplay to look at.
Oh yeah, like I love Pokemon, and I did that costume for April Fool's Day because I'm a derp. So hi. But like knowing that there's like a Pop figure, I'm just like, ooh, I need it. Like I collect Pop figures. Like I think I have one for most of my cosplays. Like Tina's got one. There's an alien one. Gosh, there's Gremlins one. So now I need to like get the Eevee one and like add it to my collection. Eevee's adorable. Never change Eevee. No stones. Eevee's already perfect.
And now we tabled the community aspect because unfortunately I've seen some positive stuff in cosplay on Facebook and on Twitter, and I've seen some horrific stuff about what's going on, and I've seen a divide in the community in a lot of ways, and I've seen a bunch of cosplayers remaining quiet as of lately who were once very adamant. And so I'm very curious what you feel is going on in the cosplay community, because for me, looking in, it seems very odd, and it seems it's in a very different place than it was 2 years ago, and it seems it's in a very different mental health state than it was 2 years ago.
I think the big thing right now is with what's going on, and like people like being stuck inside, and like a lot of people like losing their jobs, and like all types of things that's happening, like regarding the virus and everything.
I mean, I've seen a lot more nastiness. Is a good word to put out there, and
yeah,
from not even cosplayer to cosplayer, some of that, but just to not go into the story, but I was commenting on something, and I was saying, hey, we're all in this together, you know, panelists, celebrities, and it was a whole nastiness between other people who are also suffering in this environment. And it was very, very taken aback for me. And I haven't really spoken about this, and I'm not gonna, but I didn't see that 3 months ago. I didn't see that 2 years ago. And so I'm very curious on you being an insider, and not throwing anybody under the bus, but where do you think that's stemming from, and what is going on? Because there's definitely a mental health aspect to this. And
oh yeah, definitely.
It's a problem.
Definitely. Like, I feel that people are scared. Like this is a very weird time. It's a very scary time. Like for instance, for me, like I don't know like what's gonna happen next month. Like I don't know if my business is gonna succeed or like not succeed or whatever. So it's like a very scary time like for everybody. And I know a lot of creators have been going quiet on social media, and like they're not creating or they're not really like talking to people. They're like trying to assess the situation in like different ways. I know a lot of people like kind of feel bad about not producing content. It is fine to not produce content. We're in a pandemic. Like you don't have to like that doesn't mean you have to be productive. Like you can deal with it in ways that you feel comfortable. Like if that's like, oh, I'm gonna just like maybe just play like a nice game or like read a book or just like go off social media, then do that. Like do what like makes you happy. Like it is a very scary time, so like a lot of people are gonna react very differently. You just have to like be like very like accepting and just like oh that's fine. Like you don't have to be like super productive or you don't have to be glued to social media or whatever. But yeah, like I think right now, like just people are scared, and like they're going to be scared for a while, which sucks. That's the reality of it. But I think that we'll definitely like get through this. Like we'll get through this together. It's going to be hard, but I think we can do it. So we just have to be strong and like think of a good thing that has happened to you within like a week, and like try to hold on to that memory or something to like kind of keep you going, or just, like communicate with friends. Like for instance, I'm on Discord every single day and I'm talking with friends, and like we're trying to like lift our spirits up and like that kind of thing despite the really rough time that's going on. So I think it's really important to think about your own mental health and your health and like just like trying to keep going. You
Yeah,
got this.
I'm going to add something in there, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
mind. Don't destroy me on Facebook or anybody when they're saying, hey, we're all in this together, and they expand the group beyond. Because I'll be honest about it, it really upset me, and it made me feel very ostracized because cosplayers aren't the only ones who are suffering at conventions. A lot of celebrities are, a lot of small time artists, a lot of
Exactly.
big time artists, and it's not an exclusive problem because when a con doesn't happen, and I've spoken about this on YouTube, and I want to make this explicitly clear here, the GDP a con creates for a lot of people that you don't think matter. So the Uber driver and the food and the dealer and the comic person's handler and even cosplayers who are not guests at cons benefit in a lot of ways. So we are all in this together. So
yeah, definitely.
Something because I haven't spoken about this, and I think it's so crucial to understand is that this is a pop culture problem. It is not a cosplay problem.
Yeah, like it's a big problem, like within like the entire community. Like it's a scary time, like super scary. So we have to just realize that we're a community. It sucks when people do like lash out like on things. Like I'm sure they had like a bad day or whatever, which sucks. I do hope like people are safe and healthy though, and just like hopefully like they find ways to deal with the stress. I know like when I'm stressed, like I'm just like I'm gonna watch some anime, and I'm gonna play Doom, get my stress anger out. So hopefully like I hope people find ways to get their stress out, or they find different ways to like kind of find a group to talk to, like a group of friends on like Discord or something, or maybe they can have a journal and they can write down their thoughts. I know that helps a lot of people as well. So very important to recognize that.
And now, having said all this, obviously this is a big support moment. So, how can people support you? Because that's kind of why we're doing a lot of these, or at least that's why I'm doing a lot of this stuff. And this is the seventh one I've done. I got probably another five in the hopper scheduled in the next week or two. I got two more this week that are going to be either on YouTube or live or a combination of both. And so I'm very curious how people can support you right now and even where people can find you on social media because money is tight and it's a scary time and things are chaotic and support. If you have extra money and you're in a good place, you got to support indie, you got to support local,
Oh yeah.
you got to support your favorite creators. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't, there's something called social media. Twitter's free, Instagram's free, Facebook's free, liking,
Mm-hmm.
commenting, sharing
Yeah,
is free. So where can people
exactly.
find you and support you?
For me, I'm on all social media, so on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. If you look up Labinnak, which is cannibal spelled backwards except with K, you can find me. I also have a Patreon. If you want to go support me there, that gets you bonus content and things. Just to go off of what you said, it's like this time, like we need to like think about the community, like we're all in this together, like we're all dealing with this universal problem that is this coronavirus, and like we all just need to like kind of like support each other and like be there. So if there is somebody out there who like you support, like who's like a small creator, like they make things or if they do things like you watch on like YouTube or like wherever, it's really important to support those people right now. And supporting someone doesn't just mean financially. Like I know like a lot of people are struggling with their finances, like so in that case, like you can do something like what you said with liking and sharing and like that kind of thing. Like that is a great way to support, especially like different parts of the creative community. So definitely like today, like go to your favorite, like your favorite YouTuber or someone who draws art or a cosplayer or a photographer. So whoever, and like leave a nice comment on their posts to let them know that like you appreciate them or you give them a like there's a lot of different ways you can support someone and like you do make a difference.
I would even go further and say, as somebody on Twitter, and I post a lot of stuff up there and my content's free, share. Sharing it.
Yes,
Sharing it.
sharing is a big one. I like cry a little bit of tears of happiness whenever people share my stuff. I'm like, thank you, you're so nice.
So
That
so
was cool
I
to
love
share.
two things. I love two things on Twitter. I like Instagram when people like or comment. I like
Mm-hmm.
when people subscribe to me on YouTube. But what I love
Mm-hmm.
is I love when people engage with me on dialect. I'm going to give a really
Oh
quick
yeah.
crash course on Twitter, everybody. One of the things that is really useful is retweets on Twitter are great, but creating a dialogue. And I have mastered this. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell a really quick story because this is so relevant to everybody out there. So I was watching WrestleMania, and me and a bunch of people that I don't know were just commenting back and forth, and we were continuing the conversation because it upticks and it gets your tweet higher, and it actually
Mm-hmm.
changes the algorithm. Now, I put
Yeah.
up a tweet that had no product or anything like that, but we were all
Mm-hmm.
having a good time, me and a few other people. And what
Mm-hmm.
started happening is because me and this other person were going at it, joking around about a match, not angry, don't even know this person, and we were having a good time. Other people started jumping in, and it
Mm-hmm.
became a bigger conversation. And that tweet got like 3,000 impressions when it should have only gotten
Oh wow.
150. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't change my life. But now imagine there's a product in that, or you put up your Ruby cosplay, for instance, so you as an example, and then
Mm-hmm.
commenting, and then you comment back, and then it's a conversation. All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden,
Yeah, yeah.
increases the
That's that sense of
algorithm.
community. Yeah,
And so that's something to keep in
exactly.
mind. And there's no excuse anymore because Twitter is free. And one of the things that I do, and I don't do it enough, used to do it a lot more, is I used to comment a lot on Saturday right after My Hero Academia with old
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
people. and I should do it a lot more, and I'm going to start doing it a lot more. But again,
Hmm.
that's something to just throw out there to people because, again, money is tight and it's great.
Hmm.
If you have money to support everybody, whether that's me, Labinnak, or another cosplayer that you thoroughly enjoy. But also, there's no excuse not to follow somebody on Twitter or like their Facebook page or like their
True. True.
Instagram.
Hmm.
There's just no
Or like
excuse.
start a conversation with them. Hey.
So on that note, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we did. There was a lot. A lot of stuff.